What's up, otakus? It's your tour guide here. I'm jumping on because, first off, I don't know if you can see back here. I used to have like a big milk crate full of books. Oh, wait, why am I don't want to be like that. Um, I just have a big milk crate full of books, and this was my overflow box, things I had been meaning to trade, sell off, kind of get rid of. And as you know, I'm trying to create space right now. So um, this trade haul is a really interesting story. I think you're going to enjoy it because for me, it kind of represents um, my whole concept of Oonmyoung, right? You go out on the hunt or you go out and you just never know what's going to happen, right? You're just kind of out in the elements. And things can kind of happen as they may. So I want to take you back to yesterday. Yesterday, pretty typical Saturday. You know, my son's in Saturday school, so I basically had some time before school was out, and decided, hey, I'm gonna go to the library, pick up, drop off some books, and while I'm there, I'm gonna hit up half price books just to see what they have. Now, as you know, I don't have any money. And as you know, I'm just in the process of looking into selling my entire collection, right? Just like kind of finding a situation where I'm going to sell off all the stuff that I really don't need and keep the stuff that I want to take to Japan with me. And that has to be a very narrow set of books because of the logistical issues. And it's a very daunting task. I'm kind of like, oh man, how am I going to get rid of these books? I've been meaning to kind of trade with community members to just give them a lot of value for just like one or two big items. And I've been kind of putting the word out there. I think a lot of collectors are kind of not wanting to do that. They're in the same space of like, I need to get rid of my stuff. I don't want to take on your stuff. And it's kind of one of those situations. But so I was at Half Price Books yesterday and just digging through. Looks like my family's back, so I'm going to make this really quick. And I met a gentleman there. His name's Jens. Shout out to you, Jens. He's my new CBC community. I shouldn't say CBC. He's just a local guy. Hey, what's up? I'll be with you in a minute. Okay, I'm just streaming right now. You don't have to join us. All right, I'll see you later. Anyway, Jens was there and he was digging and we got to talking. Just kind of like, hey, what are you into? And he wasn't really kind of like, I collect kind of everything. And so it struck me as odd. We got to talking a little bit more, and he just started collecting. And he's like, I just got a pressing machine, and I was thinking of like pressing and sending in books to grade. So I'm just kind of looking for, kind of the diamonds in the rough. And he obviously asked me for my opinion on what to pick up in the cases at Half Price Books. So obviously my mind went from like trying to buy something to helping this guy. And I already knew what was kind of in the box. I said, hey, there's some big ones in here that you really, really want. And I pointed them out to him. One being, again, the first Teen Titans DC Comics Presents 26, and the other being the first Parasite. Now, I had never gone in the case to look at the condition. I knew they were in there, and I knew they were kind of fairly priced for the most part. And so I kind of said, hey, you might want to take a look at these. You should really take a look at the grade and see, because I think these are underpriced, first off. And second, if you do get them graded, you could potentially make out big if you get the higher grades on these two. And so he was kind of like, he took that advice to heart, which I felt like was like, wow, okay. And we kind of looked at the books together, and I said, you kind of want to make sure these are complete books before you buy them, and make sure you do your due diligence. But yeah, he went in they got in the case, they gave him the books. We poured over the grades, and I said, yeah, I think these are really undervalued for what they are. And he's like, all right, thanks, man. And then he kind of took them up to the counter to buy, and he was looking around the store still. And then the lady who locked up the box, she's like, do you want to look at anything else? And I'm like, no. He kind of took the comics I wanted. And I think Jen's overheard that. And later we kind of ran into each other in the store again. And I asked him for his contact information, because I was like, hey, dude, if you grade these, I just want to know what they come out as. So can you just share me your information so we can keep in touch? And when you do grade them, you can let me know what you got. And he's like, oh yeah, sure. And so we exchanged phone numbers, and then we parted ways. And then later that afternoon, I kind of messaged him and I said, hey, you know what? First of all, and while we were in the store, we were talking about a bunch of books. And I told he kind of pulled this Wolverine 1. It was like a reprint of Wolverine 1 from the 80s or the 90s, and volume 2. And he said, wow, this is a cool book. And I was like, hey, I actually have a newsstand, a high grade copy of that. And he's like, oh, really? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, wow, cool. That's something, I might want to get down the road. Anyway, we parted ways. And then I kind of texted him. I said, hey, you know what? If you're down to trading those 2 issues that you got today, I'll give you a lot of value and, kind of give you a lot of, volume, like a lot of books for those 2. And I'll make it worth your while, kind of throw in extra books and definitely give you more value than the 2 books are worth. And you can, because he got the books for like 150 total, the 2 books. But I said, I'll give you full value, trade value for those books. And he messaged me immediately back and said, yes, I'd be interested in doing that. And we kind of did the back and forth of what we had and what he was looking for. And he initially, like, the Wolverine obviously was there. And then he told me, like, Todd McFarlane and Jim Lee. I had a lot of, like, kind of doubles and McFarlane stuff I didn't want. So I kind of took a quick photo shot of the stuff I had. And he's like, yeah, let's do this. I'm definitely interested. So we met this afternoon, and we made the trade. Now, I basically gave him like a short box full of books. They're all minor key kind of books. Some of them are like $10 to $20. And then I also traded him my ASM 100 in low grade. I traded him the Wolverine #1. That's a high grade newsstand copy. So that's like $150 right there. A bunch of McFarlane's ASMs, priced at around $10 each. And anyway, he got the $350 he's willing to trade the 2 books for in terms of the books he wanted. And then I just threw in a bunch of like a short box full of stuff just to sweeten the deal. And then I gave him also a Jim Lee signed book, which I had, the X-Men one. So I gave him a lot of value. I basically was like, dude, I'm just glad we connected and we met like this. And you're getting started in collecting. He doesn't have a big collection yet. So I figured these are good books to give to somebody like that, just to get him started, just to kind of get him looking at what's available. Good mix of like copper and bronze stuff in that mix. And I was able to get 2 big books that I wanted. And so we're going to get to them right now and talk about it. So I'm just going to share my screen here. And we'll go over the grades, because that's really the important thing on this. First off, these are still in the half price bags and boards. And as you can see, we have DC Comics Presents here, the first new Teen Titans appearance, first appearance of Cyborg, the first appearance of Starfire. I mean, this is a big book. And as you know, this is something at the end of 2025, I said I would target and want to add to my collection in the new year. Didn't think I'd get it, but here we are. I mean, this is a really, really key book here. And it's in really, really decent shape. So I'm just going to take it out as we rebag and board it, just to give you a look at what the grade looks like. And again, $76 for this book. I'm thinking this is in a VF copy. We've got a spine tick there at the staples. But outside of that, this staple looks really clean. The corners are relatively sharp. There's some indentation a little bit in the book, but that can be pressed out. Nothing terrible on this. And it's a newsstand copy. And I just really think I got a high grade copy here. So I'm really happy with this trade. Now, again, I gave up a lot of value for this, but for me, it's about, all those other books, they didn't really carry any real sentimental value for me. Whereas this one is a big book, and it's one I've been, again, kind of targeting to pick up. And Jensen and Jens knew this. Jens was like, these books don't mean as much to me as they do to you, so I'm happy to trade them to you. And that's what I appreciated about him. And again, I gave him a lot of the early Todd McFarlane, Jim Lee stuff at Marvel. And of course, some of the keys. I gave him also the first Jubilee high grade copy. That one, it'll probably come back a 9.6 at least. So hopefully he does get that graded and gets the result there. But that is a really, really nice add to the collection there. All right. And then the second book, this one is the one that, again, if I had the cash, I think I talked about it. I said there's a first Parasite at Half Price Books. It's really fairly priced. I just don't have $85 to go pick it up. If I did, I would pick it up. But then we hit a situation where I'm like trying to downsize, not trying to pick anything up. Hang on, I need to get one thing while you stare at my book there. All right, so we're going to take this one out of the bag. We're going to take a look at the grade of this one. Now, this one, one thing you want to be aware of the first Parasite is that it contains the poster. And we did our due diligence here, and it does contain the poster there. What's up? Okay, keep my voice down. Thank you. And so, yeah, basically, this one has the poster. And I'm just going to do a little bit of a touch-up here on the edge corner there because it's a little furled up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some sticky wood glue on the tip of this here. Kind of put a dab of sticky wood glue there and kind of unfurl it back. There we go. And now it looks a lot better. And it'll stay, hopefully. Okay, a little cosmetic action there. But as you can see, it's a really clean book. I mean, not a lot. You can see it's still got the gloss there. It's a prime candidate for a press, but the edges, no creasing really. The back, still a supple book. Pages are white. I mean, this is the first Parasite. I would put the grade at like a 6.5, maybe a 7 if we're lucky. But really, really, really big pickup here. So I'm really happy with this one. So just gonna transport it now. There we go. Oh, it's wanting to furl up again. Guess there's not much we can do there. Okay. Okay. And there we go. So here's a look at the back. Yeah. Again, decent. Again, probably needs a clean and a press. Some TLC on both of the books, but again, I think this is it'll probably be like I want to say like 7.0 even. Not much wrong with the book. It's got the poster in it too, and then we've got that one. So 2 big Superman ads here in 2026. Gave away, again, the ASM 100 low grade Wolverine high grade newsstand, volume 2, number 1. Gave away the first appearance of Jubilee high grade and a bunch of McFarlane books, plus a short box full of Jim Lee McFarlane, like Spider-Man, Jim Lee X-Men, Jim Lee Wildcats, stuff like that. First Alpha. I mean, there's a bunch of, he got a lot of value. He got probably like $500 worth of value in that trade. Whereas, again, these are 2 big books, and just happy to part with a lot of volume, which I've been meaning to do, for 2 real keepers right here. So there you go. That's my, hey, what's up, Kenneth? Yeah, I'm just popping on, when I like to hop on when I get books into the collection, and just had this really awesome trade with a local guy here, Jens, and we both came away happy from this trade. He kept asking me, are you sure you want to do this? Because he felt like he was taking advantage of me. He probably was, because I gave him a lot of stuff. But none of that stuff was really kind of like, it was stuff I was meaning to like give away or sell and do stuff with, because of the whole we could move to Japan kind of thing. Whereas these 2 books are definitely, if we're moving, they're going to come with me to Japan. So I figured we kind of killed 2 birds with 1 stone. And he got what he wanted, and I got what I wanted. And that is that. So thanks for joining, guys. This was just a really quick video. I got to now play with my kid and do weekend stuff. So peace out to you guys, and we'll see you in the next one.